Hi, my name is Rachel and you're watching the Rachelistic channel. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't guessed already, today's video is about camouflaging. And no, I don't mean trying to blend in with trees. I mean like masking and trying to appear more neurotypical. So if you want to know the ins and outs of camouflaging and masking and unmasking, then you are in the right place because that's what we're going to be talking about today. And if you stick around for long enough, you might just hear my experience with masking and camouflaging and all of that stuff. So let's get into it. So a lot of the times in the autistic community, camouflaging is just simply referred to as masking. But masking is actually a part of camouflaging. So the camouflage is like the umbrella term, and then masking is underneath that. So the definition of camouflaging is finding ways to try and hide or make your autism or ADHD or whatever neurodivergence you have, to try and make that less visible or to hide it from other people so you can appear more neurotypical. So basically, once you're camouflaging, how you appear or how you present in social situations is different from how you are actually feeling on the inside. So camouflaging can happen both consciously and unconsciously. So you can be actively thinking about it, like I am going to make eye contact with this person, and you're actively thinking about it, or it can be unconscious and you kind of just happens automatically, like when you are around friends, you just start maybe copying their tone of voice or their phrases without you really thinking about it. So typically, camouflaging is seen more frequently in females than in males. It's seen more in people who aren't male than people who are male, is a better way of saying that. And one of the theories for that I've seen is that because girls are typically socialized to be more sociable, basically we feel more pressure to fit in and to be a social human being. And so girls typically will learn to camouflage or mask earlier or quicker than boys do, just because of that social pressure. But in literature, it hasn't really been a reason for why it's seen more in people who aren't male than people who are male. Hasn't really been established or decided. There's a lot of theories, but nothing has been proven really. As I said before, camouflaging is the umbrella term. So there are 3 different types of camouflaging that autistic and neurodivergent people use to camouflage. So the first type is compensation, and that basically means finding ways around the things that are difficult or that don't come naturally because of your autism or ADHD or whatever. So basically, it's making up for things that don't come naturally to you that would come naturally to a neurotypical person. So some examples of what this can look like is practicing facial expressions in the mirror before you go out and hang out with friends or something, so that you know to smile properly, so that it looks like you're happy, or your sad face. I don't really know how to do a sad face, but practicing your facial expressions. Another example could be forcing yourself to make eye contact with people because it doesn't come naturally to you to make eye contact. So you're okay, I'm going to stare at you. and make eye contact with you so that you know that I'm engaged and listening, even though that doesn't really make sense, but I digress. And another example can be like practicing scripts before you are making a phone call or gonna have a conversation with somebody, which I realized that I do that a lot. I have done that a lot and I didn't even realize I was doing it. Then the second type of camouflaging is masking, which I'm pretty sure most of us know about masking. And masking is really like hiding your autism or your neurodivergence from people to seem more neurotypical. So it's really like just repressing things and just hiding things altogether and just pretending like you're neurotypical. It's putting on a mask, hence masking, obviously. Some examples of what masking can look like is like copying your friends' like speech pattern or like phrases that they say because they're neurotypical. It can be like forcing yourself not to stim when you're like really nervous or you're overwhelmed or something, and you just kind of like keep it all in until you're by yourself and then you let it all out. And another example is like not showing your like reaction to sensory issues. For example, like if something's like really loud and you would typically like cover your ears or something, like forcing yourself not to cover your ears even though something's really loud and like bothering you, you just pretend like it doesn't. And that's masking. And then the third type of camouflaging is assimilation. And this one, it kind of sounds like masking, but it's different. It's trying to like fit in, or not really fit in, but more blend in with like people around you so that you don't seem different, which can kind of sound like masking because you're trying to like, again, you're not trying to seem different, but it's not really like you're repressing anything. You're just kind of like trying to like blend in with the crowd, you know? Some examples of this could be like standing near other, yeah, like standing near other kids, but not actually like playing with them. Like if you're like at a playground or something, like maybe you're just kind of around them, but you're not actually playing with them. Another one could be like laughing along to a joke that you don't understand because everyone else is laughing. And if you don't laugh, then people are going to be like, why isn't this person laughing? Didn't they get the joke? So you have to laugh so that you can blend in with everyone. And yeah, another example is like doing or like going along with something or like doing something that you don't really want to do, but you're just going along with it with everyone else so that you don't look different. So like say you're with friends and they want to go get ice cream, but you don't really want to get ice cream, but you just go along with them just to blend in and not have to be different. And so those are the three types of camouflaging. And so there are many different reasons as to why people might camouflage. Some of them are to just help with like making and maintaining friendships or like relationships with people. It can help with making friends because you appear to be very sociable and great, and so people want to talk to you and be your friends. And so that is a reason why someone might camouflage. People camouflage to help with job interviews or even just to like get through school and just, you know, make it through the day. To go along with this, people can camouflage to like avoid bullying or being isolated or like to just avoid like the stigma that comes along with being a neurodivergent human being. Well, there are a lot of reasons, and sometimes good results can come out from camouflaging, like getting a job or making friends. There's like more, I would say that there's more negative impact or effects to camouflaging than there really are positives. The negative effects of camouflaging are like, first of all, it's extremely exhausting because you are using, like, it uses a lot of like energy, a lot of emotional energy to camouflage or to mask or to do any of these things to assimilate, to compensate. It uses a lot of mental energy, a lot of emotional energy, and to be camouflaging all day, say like at school, you're camouflaging all day and you have to listen in your classes and do the work and, you know, homework and all of this stuff. It's like extremely exhausting. And a lot of people that do camouflage say that they just are completely exhausted at the end of the day. They need time to recover. They just need to like be by themselves and just chill in bed or do whatever they do to relax, because it just takes so much energy from you. And then another negative effect of camouflaging is that doing it like for a long time, like for years and years and years, it it can cause burnout, and it can also really take a toll on your mental health. And you can end up with anxiety and depression because it's just a lot. Because really you're not being your true self, and that can cause a lot of self-esteem issues, and which can cause depression and also anxiety, because you're like, what if this person sees who I really am? What are they going to think of me? And all these things. So it's a lot. And yeah, and it can also increase the likelihood of having things like meltdowns or shutdowns, just being like completely overwhelmed and you just don't know what to do with yourself, because like I said before, it's just incredibly exhausting. It takes so much energy out of you, and so you can very easily just shut down and just become unresponsive or have a meltdown and just be like completely overwhelmed. And another big, big negative impact, I would say, from camouflaging, and one of the things that I have, or am, I guess, dealing with because of it, is like having like identity confusions or crisis or whatever you want to call it, like because you spend all of that time hiding who you are, pretending not to be who you are, just trying to blend in and fit in and be like everybody else around you. You kind of forget who you are, or like what you like to do or what you want to do or who you are. And so a lot of people that camouflage a lot, or have over the years, especially a lot of like adults who were diagnosed later in life, and they say that they have to go through this period of like relearning who they are, because they spent all this time trying to be like everybody else, and now they don't know who they are. And that's like one of the big things about camouflaging all the time, is that you lose kind of like who you are. You forget who you are because you're just trying to be like everybody else. So also it can lead to people being misdiagnosed and to being missed in the system, I guess, as being like autistic or having ADHD or any of these things, because you're masking or camouflaging. And then so people don't really get to see the full picture. Camouflaging has a lot of negative effects. That's why a lot of people who get diagnosed later in life, or I don't know, just people who get diagnosed, they talk a lot about unmasking. And like that's really just, learning not to camouflage or to mask or do any of those things, and just kind of be yourself, be your 100% your natural self. Unmasking is pretty cool because it can help you to learn about yourself better, and it can really help with improving your mental health and like loving yourself the way that you are. When it comes to unmasking, though, you have to do it logically, because first of all, you can't just go around and do whatever you want and say whatever you want all the time, because people can be offended, or you can't just like be rude to people and then just be like, oh, it's because I'm autistic. Like, no, we don't do that. You still have to be nice to people and have, treat people with like respect or whatever, and still be a decent human being. They can still be like autistic and be a decent human being. But anyways, just like don't use unmasking or like your neurodivergence as an excuse to act bad towards people. Please don't do that. It just ruins it for everyone else. Also, I would say don't like unmask in situations that aren't going to be safe for you. This is especially true for people of color, Black, Indigenous, people of color, because obviously stereotypes and racism, if you go out and see a Black man stimming freely, people are gonna judge him, and some people might call the police, and then that'll be a whole situation that didn't have to happen. So yeah, be safe about it and just don't unmask in places that are not going to be safe for you. And yeah, like honestly, I wish that everybody, regardless of what you look like, regardless of your race, could just unmask and just be 100% yourself all the time. But unfortunately, the world that we live in, that's just not possible. Like, it's not possible. So that's why I say to do it logically and to do it in places where you know you're going to be safe, because it's terrible for somebody to have to get for someone to be like injured or like killed because they're just being themselves. So yes, please just do it logically and safely. Stay safe, friends. Stay safe. Okay. The last thing I'm going to say about unmasking is that it takes a lot of conscious effort and self-awareness to unmask, because masking and camouflaging can happen like automatically without even thinking about it. You really have to think and be like aware of like your thoughts and feelings about what you're doing. You really have to think about how you are interacting with people and what you're doing, or like why you might stop yourself from doing something that you kind of want to do, or yeah, just like what's going on in your mind in social situations. Because yeah, that's how you can figure out what you've been masking, what you've been camouflaging, is by doing those kind of things. It takes a lot of effort to camouflage, but it also takes a lot of effort to not camouflage as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with camouflaging and masking and all that. I was trying to think about like when I started camouflaging or masking, and I don't know. I'm not really sure when I started, but I know it was when I was young, because I remember when I was really little, I would cry a lot, and I guess I would have like meltdowns because things were too loud for me. And then I remember crying. I remember like I have memories of me being little and like bawling my eyes out because things were too loud. But then at some point I just kind of stopped doing that. But things that are too loud still bothered me, because they still bother me to this day. But I just kind of stopped, and I think whenever that was is probably when I started camouflaging. I think a lot of the time, I think more often than not, I did it kind of like unconsciously and just like automatically without really thinking about it too much. So yeah, I really had to like think to figure out like what I was doing to be camouflaging and stuff. And so some of the examples that I came up with that I've done like over the years is like copying phrases or like speech characteristics of people that I saw as more like socially intelligent, I guess. So if I heard my sisters or my friends using like certain like slang terms, or just like I don't know, any or just like specific like phrases, I would definitely pick it up and start using them as well to seem more, I guess, socially, I don't know, social person. Another thing that I did was like forcing myself to kind of like deal with like sensory issues I had. So like I kind of talked about this already, but like with loud noises, I would just deal with it, I guess. I don't know. I would just kind of just take it all in and just deal with it and just pretend that it's not bothering me, and then I'd be like drained, and then I'm like, I don't know why I'm drained. It's because of the loud noises. Anyways, but yeah, with loud noises, that was a thing. And like also with like uncomfortable textures, like wearing jeans or like skinny jeans and stuff like that. Like I remember like wearing jeans all day and just I couldn't wait until it was like time to go to bed so then I could take these jeans off because they're just so uncomfortable. And I don't know why I forced myself to be wearing these jeans for so long. Like I could have just put on some pajama pants when I got home, but I still wore the jeans for so long. Another thing that I would do is like whenever I was in a group or yeah, like a group of people, a group of friends, and they're like all talking, I'm like analyzing and observing everybody, like their facial expressions or like tone of voice and all of these things so that I can kind of figure out like what I'm supposed to be doing. I guess I still do that to this day. That's how I would kind of, I guess, get through these like social situations is by like studying everybody and like copying what they're doing, I guess. Another thing I would do or still do, I guess, is like practicing scripts when I have to talk to people. And when I was thinking about this, I remembered that I would do this like with like ordering like from fast food restaurants and stuff like that. And I still have the script memorized for Subway. I mean, it's changed a bit now, but yeah, I still have it memorized for Subway. Footlong veggie on Italian. That's what you say when you go to Subway. Yeah, another camouflaging thing that I did a lot was like holding back my like emotions, I guess, throughout the whole day until it was like alone in my room at night. Especially when I was in middle school and high school, I would do that a lot and yeah, just hold everything back and just act like I was okay, and then I go and then it's nighttime and I just let everything out. That's not good. It wasn't good. Another thing I did this a lot, especially in university, is like hanging out with people or doing like social things. Even though I was tired and like burnt out, I would just like suck it up, I guess, and just go out and keep doing these things with people. And even though I was tired, like going bowling or just hanging out with people until like late hours at night, I would just stick it out, and then I would be so burned out the next day, so tired. I'd just stay in bed all day, and then I would feel guilty because I'm like, oh, I should be doing homework, but I was burnt out because I was hanging out with people when I should have just went to bed. And then I guess the last thing is like stopping myself from stimming, I guess, or like fidgeting or just doing like weird things is kind of how I would think about it in my head. So basically, this camouflaging, I guess, it started when I was young, like I said before, and the older I got, the more I camouflaged, I would say, because I was understanding that social interactions were apparently important. So it became more of a thing that I did. And yeah, before I knew what like masking or camouflaging was, I would describe it as like being on all day. So like if I was like really tired, I'd think to myself, I'm like, ugh, I've been on all day. I just want to go home so I can just be myself. I was doing it so much that it eventually got to the point where I couldn't like be 100% myself unless I was 100% alone, meaning that I was alone in my house with nobody else there, not even my parents or siblings. I had to be alone to be myself, and that is very problematic. But yeah, it was not good for my mental health. And yeah, once I learned more about autism and ADHD and myself and everything, I've been learning to not camouflage so much, especially around like family and people that I'm close to, because obviously that's not good. And they should know who you are. And so yeah, that's what I'm trying to do more now. That's basically it on camouflaging for today. I didn't really practice the script before making this video, so hopefully everything makes sense and that it flows nicely. But that's basically it for this video. So if you liked it, if you learned something new, if you related to it, then please give this video a thumbs up. so that more people can see it and learn new things too. If you have anything that you'd like to add on camouflaging, or if you want to share your story or share your thoughts, then go ahead and comment those down below. I've been seeing a lot of comments on my other videos lately, so it's been nice to read the comments and see what other people are saying. So yeah, go ahead and comment if you want to. Finally, if you like watching my videos, then please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when I post my next video. Yeah, so as always, stay Rachelistic, or whatever your name is, istic, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.